Hi, this is Manjri Singh from Law School 101 and this is a video in the Legal Aptitude series brought to you by Law School 101 for CLAT aspirants. In this video, we will be covering international law. This is the first video in the series of 2 for international law. In this video, we will be covering the following topics: World War I, followed by World War II, followed by United Nations, important charters and treaties, and finally, sources of international law. This will be followed by previous year questions from the CLAT 2017, ILET 2017, CLAT 2016, and ILET 2016 papers. So let's begin. The first topic is World War I. The facts that can be asked in the examination have been filtered for your use so that they are easier to remember. Let's begin with the fact sheet. The duration of the war was from 1914 to 1918. The central powers in the war were Germany, the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, and Turkey. The allies were France, Great Britain, Soviet Union, Italy, Japan, and the United States of America, which joined the war from 1917 onwards. The central powers were defeated in the war. The reason for the war was Colonel Dragutin Dimitrijevic, the head of Serbia's military intelligence, hatched a plot to cause the death of the Australian Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Australian Empire, in order to liberate the South slaves in Austria-Hungary and pursue an agenda of Serbian nationalism. The Serbian Prime Minister heard of the plot and tried to warn the Austrian government, but failed, and Franz and his wife were shot dead in Bosnia. The Austrians used this opportunity to enhance their prestige and gave a humiliating and unacceptable ultimatum, thus leading to the declaration of war. Germany had assured their support to Austria-Hungary, and Russia stepped in to the aid of Serbia. There were many casualties in the bloodshed of the war. It also resulted in the fall of the dynasties in Austria-Hungary, Germany, and Turkey. It also resulted in the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. The war ended with the Treaty of Versailles, which became the beginning for the conditions leading up to World War II. So now it's time for World War II. World War II lasted from 1939 to 1945. The Axis powers in this war were Italy, Germany, and Japan. The allies in this war were France, Great Britain, America, Soviet Union, and China. The Axis powers were defeated in the war. The reasons for the war were as follows. Hitler, the dictator in Germany, wanted to invade and occupy Poland. He signed a non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union and began the attack. On the attack of Poland, Great Britain and France came to its aid, and hence World War II began. Some of the pre-war events to occur were the Spanish Civil War, the Italian invasion of Ethiopia, and the Japanese invasion of China. This war saw the largest number of deaths, making it the deadliest war. Genocide, concentration camps, and slave labor also came to light in Nazi Germany. The aftermath of the war changed the political scenario. The United Nations were formed, and the 5 allied powers became permanent members. The relative influence of the superpowers, America and Russia, declined, and these became rivals, setting the stage for the Cold War. Now we move on to the United Nations fact sheet. The date of establishment of the United Nations was 24th October 1945. It is headquartered in New York City. The United Nations has 6 official languages. These are English, Arabic, Chinese, Russian, French, and Spanish. The current Secretary General is Antonio Guterres. 193 states claim to be members of United Nations. The nature of the organization is that it is an intergovernmental organization having different organs that deal with the challenges to the modern world and threats to global peace. These organs are the General Assembly, Security Council, Secretariat, Economic and Social Council, the International Court of Justice, and other specialized agencies. The Security Council has 5 permanent members, and these are USA, Russia, China, France, and Great Britain. Now we'll list some of the important charters and treaties. The names, date, and main object is stated for the purpose of the law entrances. The first charter is the United Nations Charter. It was signed in 1945. It is the foundational treaty of the United Nations. The second is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It was formed in 1948. It is a historic document adopted by the United Nations General Assembly. The third is the Treaty of Cordoba. It was signed in 1821. It was signed upon Mexico's independence from Spain. The fourth is the Treaty of Constantinople. It was signed in 1832. This treaty established modern Greece. The fifth is the Treaty of Nanjing. This treaty ended the Opium War. The sixth is the Cuban-American Treaty. It was signed in 1903, signed for the US to get lease of Guantanamo Bay. The seventh is the International Opium Convention signed in 1912. It was the first international drug control treaty. The next is the Treaty of Westminster. It was signed in 1931 that created the British Commonwealth. The ninth is the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944. This agreement brought a new monetary system and the IMF and the World Bank. The next is the North Atlantic Treaty. It was signed in 1949. This treaty resulted in the formation of NATO. The 11th is the ANZUS Treaty of 1952. This treaty led to the alliance of Australia, New Zealand, and the United States of America. The 12th is the Warsaw Pact of 1955, which led to the alliance of the Soviet and the satellites. The 13th is the Treaty of Rome, signed in 1957. It led to the establishment of the European Economic Committee, which later became the European Union. The 14th is the Montreal Protocol. It was signed in 1989. This protocol was for the protection of the ozone layer. The 15th is the Oslo Accords of 1993. These were the agreements between Israel and Palestine. In the 16th and last one is the Kyoto Protocol of 1999, the Protocol on Greenhouse Gases. Now we begin with the sources of international law. International law is the law that governs and regulates the relation between states. It is derived from various sources. Article 38A Article 38(1) of the International Court of Justice Statute gives a statement of the sources of international law. The 5 distinct sources of international law are: Number 1, international treaties and conventions. Number 2, international customs. Number 3, general principles of law. Number 4, judicial decisions and judicial and scholarly writings and opinions. And number 5, reason and equity. Now we discuss some of the previous year questions. Let's begin with CLAT 2017. Immediately before Antonio Guterres was appointed the UN Secretary General in October 2016, he was... And the answer options are: Number 1, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. Number 2, Commissioner General of UNRWA. Number 3, the Prime Minister of Portuguese. And 4, United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. The correct answer choice is option 1. Antonio Guterres is a politician of the Portugal country and diplomat who is serving as the 9th Secretary General of the United Nations. Previously, he was the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees between 2005 and 2015. Guterres was the Prime Minister of Portugal from 1995 to 2002. There were no questions that related to these topics specifically in the ILET 2017 and CLAT 2016 papers. So, now we move on to the ILET 2016 paper. There was one question, which was, which of the following groups of international institutions are also known as the Bretton Woods Sisters? The options are: Number 1, the United Nations and the Bank of International Settlement. Number 2, IMF and the World Bank Group. Number 3, IMF and WTO. And number 4, IBRD and the International Trade Organization. The correct answer choice is option B. These organizations were born out of the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944. The Bretton Woods system of monetary management established the rules for commercial and financial relations among the United States, Canada, Western Europe, Australia and Japan after the 1944 Bretton Woods Agreement. There were no questions in the ILET 2016 paper relating to these topics specifically. Thank you for watching this video. For more resources, follow, like and share our page Law School 101 on Facebook. Also, subscribe to our main YouTube channel by the same name. We encourage you to post your doubts, queries and questions in the comment section below. These will be replied to within reasonable time. Best of luck, law aspirants.